What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. This is Curtis.
This is Elena.
And we're back again
with another reaction video for you guys.
So guys, we got The Most Beautiful Life Goes On story of BTS.
This sounds exciting.
Basically, so guys, we know BTS, we know their life so far. However, this is going to be a great perspective to see exactly how it looks when we see it on this video.
Yes, because honestly, only them know their real life on the inside. But we can only go by whatever they show us. And to us, it always look real. It always look natural. It don't look fake. It looks, you know, the real them. So that's what we always go by. So we think we know quite a bit much because we've been doing reaction for some times now. And we love the group and we get to know the group in so many different aspects. So this one is a good way to even dig a little more deeper, to go back into the old story before we was even ARMY, so we can go and see how they started and all this and all that. But we got one thing to do before we dig in this video, you guys. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe.
Hit the button, guys.
Don't forget to like, comment, share the video, turn on your post notifications so you get notified every single time we drop a video, because we do drop them for you every single day.
Back to all the way back, so don't be slacking. You know I gotta pull up your line up in there. Man.
Anyway, you guys, so we are so excited for this video. It's gonna be a long video, so get ready, grab your drink,
grab your popcorn,
and without further ado,
let's
get
into
the video. The Asian theory. How can I see it? Kim Namjoon.
This is dedication. You see the editing, man?
Sok Jin.
Min Yoon.
Jungkook.
You got their last name.
Park Jimin. Wow, look at him. Kim Taeyeon. Oh, that's in my name. Jeon Jungkook. A whole story, the most beautiful story.
It lets you, if you never knew who BTS was, it gives you a good perspective from the beginning to
If you're new to the ARMY, this is a great video for you. If you're old too, some things you might forget.
It's nostalgic.
BTS.
Today, everyone knows the name of BTS. They've been invited onto late-night talk shows, they've shattered records, they've sold out stadiums, they've made it onto the big screen. These days, you'd be hard-pressed to find someone who didn't know who these guys were, or at least haven't heard one of their songs. And if they don't, either they've been living under a rock, or they're 100 years old. The success of the Bangtan Boys is worldwide, but it wasn't always like this. And it all started with one man. YG wanted to make himself a rap group. In the late 90s, he experimented with this idea with different trainees, eventually choosing 7 members. And while 3 of them eventually left, the remaining 4, Teddy, Danny, Jinhwan, and Baekhyun, debuted in 1998 as One Time. Their first album, titled One For Your Mind, was one of the year's best-selling albums and won several awards, including the Global Disc and SBS Music Awards for Best New Artist and KMTV's Award for Best Hip Hop Artist. The group enjoyed moderate success and released 4 more albums before going on indefinite hiatus in 2006 due to the mandatory military service. The year was 2010, and the 5-year-old company, Big Hit Entertainment, had previously signed 2 artists, 88 and 2AM. They had their share of successes, but they were very traditional K-pop groups. Big Hit wanted a fresh, new sound, and upon listening to One Time, CEO Hitman An Si-hyo had decided that that was the sound that he was looking for. And on top of that, the youth needed someone to relate to, and more importantly, look up to. He had decided he would create a hip-hop group.
Oh, because if you remember, they started as,
At 15
years rapping and...
Kim Namjoon auditioned for a certain big deal record, which he completely botched, forgetting the lyrics to the song he was performing. Afterwards, fellow rapper Sleepy recommended that he try auditioning at another label, Big Hit. and even put in a good word for him to one of the producers there. At age 16, Kim auditioned in front of Bang Si-hyuk himself and instantly impressed him. He was offered to deal with Big Hit on the spot, which he accepted and became a trainee, officially choosing a name for himself, Rap Monster, destined to become the leader of the newly created group.
Look at his hair!
That's the first thing you notice. But I like the fact, did you see that this man had trial and error with those other groups?
Yeah, I see.
That's crazy. When you want something and you
go for it.
You go through the trial and error, you go through the bad times until you find the perfect mix. And then Namjoon was the first member.
Namjoon auditioned at 15 and he did not make it and he came back. And look at him now.
No, he auditioned
went
for
to,
two.
I know, he went to another one, Big Hit. He auditioned for first one, he didn't make it. Then he auditioned again for Big Hit.
So 1-1.
Fearless leader was chosen. They needed more members.
Also, he was the first member.
Sugar came out of nowhere with this.
Min Young-gi was a 17-year-old living in Daegu, an avid basketball player and rapper. He had been interested in music, especially rap, from a very early age.
Yeah.
And despite his parents' disapproval, started performing as a rapper while still in high school. He quickly gained attention as a rapper and producer in the underground hip-hop scene. One day he saw a flyer for a rap competition called Hit It and decided to participate. And although he only placed second, the company hosting the competition, you guessed it, Big Hit, decided to sign him on as a producer. Hitman Bang spoke with him afterwards, convincing him to join a newly created hip-hop group. He told him to just focus on rapping and assured him that he wouldn't need to dance. He was lying. Just like that, the new group had a second member, known as Suga. The combination of the first two syllables of shooting guard, his favorite position in basketball. But they wouldn't stop.
That is mind-blowing. So real.
Oh
see?
my god!
Shooting guard.
Shooting guard. Wow, you guys, we learned something new.
But shooting guard.
I didn't know Kim Namjoon had braids, honey.
He had what? Braids?
Braids. Did you see that? You didn't notice?
Oh wow, I didn't notice that. I missed that. Mine, it flew over my head. I wasn't
You didn't
even
see
paying
the
attention.
hair?
No.
Come on now. But that's Sugar too? Sugar. Oh, keep saying
Up there,
shooting guard.
rappers were nice, but Big Hit actually needed a dancer.
Dancer.
There you go, hip-hop legend.
Jungkook always loved dancing. He was in the starting lineup of the dance crew Neuron in his hometown, Gwangju. He was good at it too, winning several local championships and even winning a championship at the national level in 2008. When he decided to audition for JYP Entertainment though, after a few rounds of auditions, he was cut. Fortunately, he didn't give up and went to his second option, a smaller, lesser-known company, Big Hit Entertainment. His dance skills and strong understanding of rhythm made him an instant favorite, and he was signed on as J-Hope. Not only that, but they saw potential in him to become a rapper, which at this point he had little experience with. However, J-Hope quickly felt that he wasn't a good fit and decided to leave Big Hit until RM convinced both J-Hope and Big Hit that the group wouldn't be complete without him.
Oh,
He was right.
Oh, we can make it without J-Hope. I came back because I trusted you guys. Oh.
With the addition of J-Hope, the rap line was complete. Now they needed some singers. Now, just like how RM, an amazing rapper with a ton of experience, was chosen as the first official member of the rap line, it would only make sense that a legendary singer and dancer would be the perfect first member of the vocal line.
Jimin.
Right?
No. V. No, I don't know.
Jin.
Oh, Jin!
Jin was the
But
one?
Kim So-jin didn't have any sort of experience like that.
Well, he got
Believe it or
chosen
not,
for his
one day
beauty.
when he was walking on the streets of his hometown, Anyang, he was approached by a representative of SM Entertainment with an offer to work for the company. In typical Jin fashion, he never followed up with it because he believed it to be a scam. Apparently, he was a very good-looking guy because years later, this time as a college student in Seoul, he was once again approached on the street, this time by an executive at Big Hit Entertainment.
Wow.
Oh,
Imagine just walking down the street getting
that's why he got that name, Worldwide Handsome, because they keep picking him because of his look.
Just walking down the street get picked. Me?
Me? Why
I knew
me?
you would pick me. That's why I walked down the street. I knew he was coming.
He didn't sing, he didn't dance. He was at school to become an actor, and he decided to audition to become an actor. Big Hit, however, had different
That's
plans
why
for
he's the
him
main
and convinced him
actor
to
of
become
all
a
the
vocalist for
MVs.
the
Yeah.
new group. To do so,
Oh.
he literally learned to dance and sing starting from zero, but
Wow.
thankfully, not without help from other vocalists.
Jin had
you
no
guys.
experience and came out there with the.
I understand the name now. Mr. Worldwide Handsome.
Yes.
You know, Mr. Handsome got picked because of his look. And you can't deny this, like, you know, he look handsome, so.
Jin is actually self-proclaimed. He named
Oh, this
himself
is some
Mr.
really good
Worldwide
information. Like Sugar name came from him playing basketball.
Handsome. Right.
RM was the first member to be selected. And Jen got chosen because of his look. And J-Hope because of his dance move.
And he eventually became a rapper.
And then he's a
And
great
then
tennis
Jen-
player. They didn't get there yet.
But Jin turned it down because he thought it
The
was
first
a
time he
scam.
thought it was a scam.
Oh Lord, Jin, you my guy, bro.
Yeah,
He ain't falling
sleep
for
for scamming
nothing.
I
He
ain't.
ain't
I'm like,
sleeping on nobody.
woo!
Jungkook, JJ.
Jungkook initially had dreams of becoming a badminton player when he was young, but after seeing G-Dragon perform Heartbreaker on television, it influenced him to want to become a singer instead.
Aw.
Because of this, at only age 14, he decided to audition for the South Korean talent show, Superstar K. He didn't
Look
pass
at
auditions,
him.
but this was just enough to catch the eye of not one company, not two
he
companies,
didn't
but
pass the
7
auditions.
different companies.
Auditions.
This
Wow.
included JYP, FNC, Woollim, Starship Entertainment, TS, Cube, and of course, Big Hit Entertainment.
Wow.
Imagine going through all of that and you didn't even pass auditions, but yet you still got these big companies interested in you.
He probably killed it.
Or but how you don't pass auditions? Those judges
Maybe
were bad.
you know, maybe somebody else
Those
was,
judges
you know.
were bad, bro.
But the fact, you know, the fact that he's 14 and maybe people older than him probably did
man,
better.
man.
But the fact that he was so young, but he had so much potential.
Man.
It wasn't his time, but they saw potential in him, which obviously now, like, you know, like mind blown my bias.
Don't sleep on my dog, JK.
Don't sleep on my bias, JK.
I thought you just said what's up.
Well, you can have more than one bias.
All right.
Can't you?
All right, you can.
Well, I have a lot, so.
You do. You want to say you have 7.
Yeah, I have
So
7 bias.
why did Jungkook, given the choice of all these bigger companies, decide to go with the relatively smaller company, Big Hit? The answer was simple. Because he thought, and I quote, RM was cool. So I wanted to say.
Oh,
That brings the number of members
I like
to 5.
that, 'cause
The next
RM was
member,
cool.
BTS, was just as surprised to find Big Hit as Big Hit was to find him, and it almost didn't happen.
The icon, the legend.
Kim Taehyung
Kim
was always
Taehyung.
passionate about music, and it was always his dream to pursue it as a career. However, it was hard, as his family was poor, his parents being humble farmers. His father told him that if he was passionate about music, he should learn an instrument, and
Oh,
he did,
yeah, I
spending 3
remember.
years
Saxophone.
practicing with the saxophone. One day,
Piano,
one of his friends
saxophone.
decided to audition for Big Hit Entertainment when they were holding auditions in his hometown of Daegu. Taehyung, being a good friend, came with him to keep him company. But when one of the team members in charge of the
Wow,
audition saw Taehyung, he encouraged him to audition as well. With nothing to lose, he did. That day, he was the only one in Daegu to move on to the next round of auditions, and eventually
That's how That's how you end friendships, man. You don't. You just go.
No, that's why you stay closer to your friend because they make it.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, it's like
I mean, yeah, first you get
just-
mad.
You like, bro, I practiced for 3 months for this thing, and you just went with me that one time, and you was the only one that made it. The only one out of the whole province. You was the only one that made it.
Well, I'll keep
Just-
that friend closer, honey, because if you making it, I'm making it too. My friend make it, we all gonna eat.
You're right. You're right. But still, it would have been funny. I would have been laughing.
You would be crying.
I would be dying.
Yeah, of course, be mad and you know, oh, I can't believe I wasted my time.
But then
But I'll be happy for my friend.
But I'm gonna immediately best buddy you real quick, cause I know you about to get this cash. Hey Kim.
You
Shout
can
me out.
understand
became a
what's
trainee
hard.
for Big Hit Entertainment. They decided to keep him as a surprise member and didn't want to reveal him as one of the members until his debut. In the same
Wow.
vein, Big Hit had him choose something mysterious for his stage name. He decided to go with V for victory. Here seems like a nice round
for
number to start,
victory.
right? 6 members for a new hip-hop group, 3 rappers and 3 vocalists. It seems like a complete group, but still there was something missing. someone was missing.
Someone was
could take this already
missing.
great group of artists and push it even further
Someone
to
was
achieve perfection.
missing.
Drum roll,
Someone
please.
so naturally talented that they could stand out in a room full of already talented artists.
Oh yeah,
This
he played
project
a
that
role
Big Hit
so
had
good.
embarked upon needed a capstone.
Capstone.
Park Jimin was a
Park
naturally
Jimin.
talented dancer. When he was in middle school, he attended a dance academy and continued to pursue dance at Busan High School of Arts, where he studied contemporary dance and was the top student in the whole modern dance department. Impressed by his raw talent, a teacher encouraged him to audition for Big Hit and Taeyeon, who were holding auditions in Busan. He was only 16 when he passed the audition and moved to Seoul to become a trainee. He was the final member of the group, and he also had the shortest training period. What's interesting to note is that the group feels very much ragtag because in a sense, with the exception of Jimin, it was. RM and J-Hope only auditioned for Big Hit because they didn't pass their auditions with the first company they chose. And despite their amazing talent, Suga and Jungkook didn't win the competitions they were in, but they signed on to Big Hit after the fact because of their high quality performances. V never even planned on auditioning and just decided to do it on a whim. And they literally just found Jin on the streets. But perhaps it was fate, because this was the group that they chose. And just like that, in 2012, the newly created 방탄소년단, the Bulletproof Boy Scouts, or simply BTS, was 7.
And it will never be the same again.
They had the group, but they still needed the music. In early 2013, they set out to create some social media presence for themselves before officially debuting, posting song covers on both SoundCloud and YouTube, which you can still go watch today. In May, Big Hit launched a countdown clock on their website in preparation for BTS's debut album, complete with a trailer and a ton of promotional material, including photos for the first time of all the members in the official lineup. Finally, the big day came. June 12, 2013, BTS held a press conference and a debut showcase where they performed their 2 singles, No More Dream and We Are Bulletproof Part 2. The same day, the Too Cool for School album, as well as the music video for No More Dream, were released.
Oh, that's that video.
The very next day, BTS
That's
performed the
when,
song again on their official
J-Hope-
debut stage
well,
on
Jungkook
Mnet's
was
M
rapping.
Countdown. This was the world's first taste of BTS. Commercially, the album didn't do extraordinarily well. The lead single, No More Dream, peaked at 124 in Korea, and the album sold only 24,000 copies during its first year. Bulletproof Part 2 didn't even chart. The first year wasn't all that great for BTS, but despite everything, people saw them. People saw the sparkle in their eyes and their limitless potential. And they were hot, of course.
Why do I
On
feel
July
like I'm
9th,
about to
Army was
cry?
established
Are
as
you
BTS's
kidding me?
official
Like, come
fan.
on, Martine.
They made their comeback only 2 months later in September when
Keep it
they released their
My
single
heart.
No, along with their EP, part 2 of what would be their school trilogy, Oh, Are You Late 2. In the music video for the single, they made a commentary on the harsh Korean education system, along with their previous themes of hopes and dreams.
Oh, they
No
suck too
peaked
hard.
at 92 in Korea, but also quickly fell off the charts. The album debuted at number 4 on the Gaon Weekly chart and was the 55th best-selling album in South Korea that year. This was enough to secure them the coveted New Artist of the Year award at the Melon Music
Aww.
Awards, the Golden Disc Awards, and the Seoul Music Awards. Part 3 of the School Trilogy was released in February of 2014.
New
the
Artist
EP,
Award.
School Love Affair. This time, the lead single was Boy in Love. And the other single being Just One Day.
Oh, that's a nice song.
Yeah, I like this song
The album, as well as both singles, enjoyed moderate success, with the album topping the Gaon album chart, as well as making its first international appearance at number 3 on the Billboard World Albums chart. The album also marked their first distinctive change in theme, focusing more on school life and young love, as evidenced by their Boy in Love music video. They also held their first fan meetings with a crowd of 3,000 in Seoul. BTS was doing well. That is, until July. This is, unfortunately, a dark chapter in the lives of BTS and ARMY. That's right, American Hustle Life. I'm joking, of course, but
Oh.
American Hustle Life was a reality show put together by Mnet that brought BTS to Los Angeles, where they had the unique opportunity to learn the true ways of hip-hop from the masters.
Oh,
It
that's
was
why
a
you
pretty
met
dark,
Tony.
cringy opportunity, but an opportunity nonetheless. Whatever you do, just don't watch the Warren G version of Boy in Love. You've been warned. However, cringe and all, the trip proved fruitful for BTS, making connections, performing their first US concert for free in front of 200 fans, as well as their first appearance at KCON. The next month, in August, BTS released their first full-length studio album, Dark and Wild. The album featured two singles, Danger and War of Hormones. The album featured a marked shift in sound with a touch of R&B and electronica. It was met with moderate success. It peaked at number 2 in Korea, selling over 200,000 albums. In October and again in May of the following year, BTS went on their first and second concert tours, known as the Red Bullet Tour, where they visited 13 different countries, including Japan, the Philippines, Australia, the US, Mexico, and many others. They also came out with their first Japanese album in December, Wake Up, featuring many Japanese versions of their songs, as well as original tracks Wake Up and The Stars, followed by a Japan tour and a solo concert in Korea. Although Dark and Wild got decent attention, they needed something different. They needed something that would shake things up. They got to work. April 29, 2015 was their comeback. When this album was produced, each member had a hand in writing songs for the album. They again changed their sound, from aggressive hip-hop to youthful, colorful styles. And not only their sound, but their image as well. This can be evidenced by their newest EP, The Most Beautiful Moment in Life. And just by looking at the album cover, they ditched the dark colors and the bulletproof vest symbol that had become so synonymous with BTS, and replaced it with a simple white and pink background overlaid with the title. And then, they dropped the single that would change everything. I Need You. It was sentimental, it was hopeful, it was new. Just by looking at the music video, we can see that BTS has also ditched their punk bad boy image and replaced it with a more real, vulnerable, down-to-earth, and youthful feel. This proved to be the change that BTS needed for mainstream success. Billboard called it one of the greatest K-pop songs of the decade. It charted at number 5 in Korea, and even led them to their first music show win on SBS MTV's The Show. And that wasn't all, they released their second single, Dope, on June 24th, which started off with a poignant line from RM. 어서 와. 방탄은 처음이지? Welcome. Is this your first time with BTS? And you know what? For a lot of people,
it was. So far, what have you learned to be about BTS that we haven't known before? I would say
I learned a lot of things.
Everything from the first 16 minutes.
No, some of the songs.
Well, the song.
Yeah, I Need You. Yeah, some of the. Okay, beside the songs, I'll say I know. Yeah, nothing.
So yeah, guys, that the way that he presented the beginning really opened our eyes to see the fact of stuff that we never knew or never got into finding out about, even though our subscribers and the people commenting on our videos told us about a lot of things. Seeing it visually puts it into a better perspective, and it shows us that, hey, we got a whole chapter that we didn't read. We got to go back to the beginning of the book. But it's great to hear them going through their struggles, going through the ups and downs. Just like anything you do, even YouTube. I mean, shoot.
Yeah, even YouTube.
You gotta start off ugly.
Yeah.
You're gonna start off ugly, but eventually it's gonna turn into a perfected.
For real, because if you look at our first video compared to our videos now, like, we're still getting better every day.
My phone was taking all the hits.
My phone.
Your phone, yes. So, let's get back into the video.
The album and tour can be seen as their stepping stone between old school BTS and new school. In November, they came back with their follow-up EP, The Most Beautiful Moment in Life, Part 2, the second EP in what would be dubbed the Youth Trilogy, which featured the single Run. The album focused even more on the frivolity, friendship, and carefree attitude that comes with enjoying one's youth. But just like in I Need You, contrasted that with suffering, depression, loneliness, society, and the stark and sometimes dark reality of life. Compare this with the far cry of the No More Dreams music video. It felt real. It was darker, grittier, more humble, more meaningful, and most importantly, RM lost his mohawk. Run was the previous single, I Need You, and another video released in September titled On Stage Prologue, established what would come to be known as the BTS universe, or the BU. which would eventually combine music videos, short films, books, short stories, webtoons, and even a mobile game to create a cohesive story. And I won't go down this rabbit hole because there is a lot to digest, but it's definitely something to look into if you're a hardcore ARMY. The same month, they kicked off their third tour, the Most Beautiful Moment in Life on-stage tour, where they performed songs from their 2 recent EPs, Part 1 and Part 2. And Part 2 was a hit, their biggest so far. It topped the weekly Gaon album and Billboard World Albums charts, and on Billboard, it stayed there for multiple weeks, the first K-pop act to do so. It also appeared on the Billboard 200 albums chart, not world albums, which was reserved for foreign non-English songs, but simply the top 200 albums, peaking at 171. Which is kind of amazing considering that this was back in 2015. They also received Best World Performer at the 17th Mnet Asian Music Awards. This brings us to part 3 of the Youth Trilogy, The Most Beautiful Moment in Life, Young Forever, released on May 2nd, 2016, which featured probably my favorite BTS album cover. Young Forever was actually a compilation album of parts 1 and 2, so it was mostly the same songs, but it was notable that it had some new singles, Epilogue, Young Forever, Fire, and Save Me. The latter two performed exceptionally well, with both songs topping the Billboard World Digital Songs chart. This was also the second BTS album to chart on the Billboard 200 at 107, and it topped both the Gaon weekly and monthly chart, which earned BTS their first Daesang. Album of the Year at the 8th Melon Music Awards. They went on to do the second half of their tour, The Most Beautiful Moment in Life on Stage, Epilogue, selling out many of their concerts and even selling out KCON in the US where they headlined the event. In September, they dropped their second Japanese album, Youth, featuring Japanese versions of tracks from their previous 3 EPs, which went gold and peaked at #1 on Japanese charts. And only a month later, in October of 2016, it happened. BTS dropped their second studio album, Wings. It sold over 500,000 copies in its first week. In comparison, The Most Beautiful Moment in Life Part 1, released just the previous year, which topped the Gaon chart, sold about 500,000 in its entire lifetime. Wings was big, but the true showstopper was its lead single, Blood, Sweat, and Tears.
I love that song.
Ooh, you know JIMIN brought the heat for that song.
Which got them their first all-kill, topping 8 music charts in South Korea. Its music video gained 6 million views in the first 24 hours, which broke the YouTube record for the highest number of views of a K-pop group music video within 24 hours. The album hit number 26 on the Billboard 200, the highest ever charting K-pop album on Billboard. They ended up selling 1.5 million copies in South Korea in 2016 alone, and it netted them the Artist of the Year award at the Mnet Asian Music Awards that same year, the first non-Big 3 artist ever to receive that award.
Oh my god, the first!
I like how they don't introduce them as BTS. They say their full name. I like the 방탄소년단. But that's crazy though. The Blood, Sweat, and Tears, man. That video does hit like hard.
Yeah, the video. When you watch the video, it's crazy.
Jimin, everybody killed it. But when Jimin did that movie,
Jimin brought the
flavor,
discussion.
What?
The discussion.
What's that?
It's like, oh, who's this guy? Like,
oh yes.
Wow, like
yeah, he pushed the envelope back.
Yeah, when you're watching the video, you oh wow, like.
And what's crazy is that they didn't even expect him to do the move. They knew he was gonna do something, but they didn't know he was gonna do the shirt come off on his shoulder type move. Like, yeah, we gotta do reaction to that, bro. We haven't even done one, so.
Blood, Sweat, and Tears, they were on a roll. BTS was unstoppable. In February of 2017, they released the instant hit Spring Day, which, according to Korean reviewer, it embodied nostalgia and sorrow and opened a new chapter in BTS's aesthetics and lyricism, and attracted fans across generational boundaries. Which, by the way, is still on Korean charts after nearly 4 years. And the same day I'm writing this, it ranked number 53 on
Stop! Don't look at me! Don't look at me! Don't look at me! Do not look at me!
Oh, wow.
Stop it! Do not!
Don't do this to me!
Don't do that. You're gonna
make me leak. Don't do it.
Whatever. Stop.
It's emotional. It's good to be emotional, man. This is heartfelt, man. So
you gotta wear my makeup.
Melon Music Awards. After the release of Spring Day, they went on yet another tour, the 2017 BTS Live Trilogy Episode 3, The Wings Tour. The tickets sold out within minutes, including in the United States, the first K-pop artist to do so, and went on to win Best Social Artist at the Billboard Music Awards. The first for a Korean artist, but they would go on to win this award 4 years in a row. The next year was a period of massive growth for both the group's popularity as well as their style. They released the Love Yourself series, starting with Love Yourself Her in September of 2017, Love Yourself Tear in May of 2018, and Love Yourself Answer in August of 2018. 3 albums that gave us some of the most classic BTS songs that we know and love today, such as Mic Drop, Fake Love, Euphoria, Idol.
This is so emotional, you guys. Like, you can tell the love is real. Like,
yes, it is a tearjerker. It does get you into that mode where you like so happy, bro. Like, cause you know that the trials they went through in the beginning, all the, you know, not say bust albums, but I know they wanted to high level success in the beginning, but you know you got to start from these levels to this. So you got to start from the bottom, and then you know eventually you'll get up
slowly
there.
make it. I mean, when you think about it, some people do make it like really fast, and it's like, okay, you just make it. For them, it takes little step by step, and I feel like when you make it that way, it gets you more to appreciate everything when you get to the top. Like, you get to sit back and be like, wow, we actually started there. Like when somebody try to struggle and make it, you can relate to them. You can explain, you can tell them your story, and they can relate to you and stuff like that. That's what makes it even more amazing.
And then sometimes those people that actually make it immediately, they flame out. They don't last long.
They don't appreciate it.
They feel like it's entitled
like,
to them.
I didn't think we was gonna. Oh wow!
Right. So
it's just a surprise to them.
And I like the way they're humble with it, and they appreciate the moment. They love everything that they do. They appreciate the past things they do, and they always shouting out ARMY, their fan base. So it's like,
yeah, that's what makes you appreciate the fact that you grow step by step, because you know the struggle. You know what it is to feel like, oh, we almost didn't make it.
Right.
And of course, all 3 albums were commercial successes, Her being their first album to top 2 million album sales. But Tear and Answer also did equally well. These 3 albums, as well as their Japanese album, Face Yourself, proved that they weren't done yet, not even close. During this time, they shattered countless records. Their singles went platinum, they topped charts, they won awards. And not only did they break YouTube records, but they broke records that they themselves set again and again and again. This is the period where BTS really started enjoying global recognition, working with huge Western artists such as Nicki Minaj, Designer, and Steve Aoki. It wasn't their first time having international features on their songs, but it was definitely the biggest. And even though they were already, without a doubt, the biggest act to ever come out of South Korea, they had their eyes set even higher. They went on tour once again for the Love Yourself World Tour. During this tour, they collaborated with Steve Aoki to make the song Wasted on Me.
Oh, look at all those stars in
their
there.
first all-English feature, and it also served as a jumping-off point for
doctor,
BTS to gain a following of English speakers. Not that they really needed the help, as they sold out concerts even in the US leg of the tour, including at Citi Field in Queens, New York, where tickets sold out in 20 minutes. And as if that wasn't enough, they dropped the movie in November, Burn the Stage, which in the US alone grossed $3.54 million in the first weekend, breaking the record set by One Direction's movie This Is Us. In September, RM had the unique opportunity to speak at the United Nations, where he spoke of anti-violence and self-love. 2 years later, he would be offered to speak on a second occasion about persistence and hope in the face of challenges. And to top it all off, in October, the president of South Korea awarded every member of BTS the 5th class Hwangwon Order of Cultural Merit for outstanding meritorious services in the field of culture and art, which is one of the highest South Korean orders of merit one can receive. And that's no exaggeration. 2019 estimates put BTS's contribution to the South Korean economy to the tune of $4.65 billion each year, an equivalent to 0.3% of the country's GDP. They were the youngest to ever receive the honor. 2019. BTS invited to the Grammys, Time Magazine, Billboard. BTS entered a new era. Not an era of simply global recognition, but global dominance. April
For real,
12th,
global
2019.
dominance.
Global
Enter
dominance.
Map of the Soul Persona. First things first, you can't mention Map of the Soul Persona without mentioning Boy With Love.
Boy With
It was
Love.
simple. What did you get when he crossed the singer of one of the best charting songs of all time that went platinum 59 times in 13 different countries with, without a question, the most globally dominant pop group of all time?
That was the
you
song
get
that
this.
make us fall in love. Well, that was the song that started everything for us.
It started everything, like learning how to
Bruh.
edit.
It was so funny, like our little backstory for ourselves, you guys. Like I kept going on. I had those one YouTubers that I follow from the beginning because we wanted to do a personal channel at first, and
Yes.
we wasn't really feeling the personal channel. And then we saw like every time I go on YouTube, I always see BTS, BTS, BTS. So I keep coming home. I'm like, Curtis, like I keep seeing this BTS, like everybody is BTS, BTS. Like what is it about? And he went and actually checked them out. And one day I came back from work, he's like, man, I see why everybody's going crazy. You gotta see this. You gotta watch this video. It was a video where it was all white. They was wearing all white. That was the first video you showed me.
Oh, what?
Yeah, I remember it was all. And then you showed me Boy. I think it was Boy With Love.
Yeah,
I think it was Boy With Love. He said, oh my God, you have to see this. Like, I see why everybody's going crazy. And I'm like, oh yeah, we definitely gotta
And then
dig
it
a little
became
deeper.
Then it became a whole
The rest is history.
a whole binge of just BTS videos from
I
there on
swear,
out.
yeah.
And listening to the songs, and yes, we fell in love that day, and that was it.
Nothing less than an instant hit. Number 8 on Billboard Hot 100. Platinum in the US. 21 music show wins. Number 1 on iTunes in 67 different countries. The most liked and the most viewed YouTube video in the first 24 hours. The fastest video to
Again.
reach 100 million views. A current view count of over 1 billion views. 7 boys, 1 girl, and
1
7
billion
different hair
views.
colors. They were the talk of the town, invited to talk show after talk show after talk show. The second single on the album was Make It Right.
That's the night of song.
Written by Ed Sheeran himself, including a version featuring Loud. The album debuted at number 1 on Gaon and sold 3.2 million copies its first month, and that's only in Korea. It became the best-selling album in South Korea ever. It swept every major Korean music show, winning Album of the Year in each one of them. They followed up this legendary EP with the Love Yourself, Speak Yourself World Tour, where they sold out both the Rose Bowl and the Wembley Stadium in only an hour. The only non-English speaking act to do
Those
so.
some
They
huge
even performed
stadiums.
as a solo act in Saudi Arabia, the first foreign act to do that. The last stop of their tour was at South Korea's largest venue, the Seoul Olympic Stadium. They ended up grossing $200 million. During this time, they also created a visual novel style game for mobile devices called BTS World, where the player can interact with the members. This also came with an original soundtrack with tracks unique to the game featuring Western artists. Zara Larsson, Charlie XCX, and Juice WRLD for the tracks A Brand New Day, Dream Glow, and All Night respectively.
All Night.
In December of 2019, the group swept the grand prizes for both the Melon and Mnet Music Award shows, the first artist to do that. Map of the Soul Persona was legendary, truly a marvel in modern music.
Right.
Yes.
So, how could BTS follow up the best-selling album in South Korean history, you may ask?
That was a good day. Good time to cut that video off.
Oh my God,
Whoa,
you guys. This is
Blown away.
so amazing.
This guy, kudos to him.
If you guys are still there, well, you guys are still there. Like, go ahead and put in the comment section, like, your favorite song. Like, what was the reason you fell in love with BTS? I mean,
What was your moment where you figured that, hey, I straight up love this group, guys? Let us know that moment. Let us know what video, what song you listened to. Were you at that time? If you was in school, whatever. Put it in the comments, guys. We want to know. We let you know ours, so we want to hear about you guys.
Better selling album. And that's what they did with Map of the Soul 7. The album was released on February 21st of
Whoa, we need to get
2020,
the Map of
featuring
the
the
Soul
singles
7,
Black
man.
Swan
They didn't get the odd yet.
It sold over 1 million albums in just the first week, and the first Korean album to be certified as quadruple million on the Gaon Music chart. It debuted at #1 on music charts all over the world, including the US, Korea, the UK, Japan, and much of Europe. It's not an exaggeration to say that this album left a permanent mark on the world, launching BTS into legendary status and becoming the best-selling artist in South Korean history. BTS had scheduled a Map of the Soul tour for April of that year, which would have undoubtedly outsold their record-breaking tour only a year prior. But unfortunately, the COVID pandemic caused the entire tour to be postponed, including the show at the Rose Bowl, which I was supposed to attend. But that didn't stop BTS, who performed virtual concerts, spoke at the Dear Class of 2020 graduation event, and released the Japanese version of their recent album with an original Japanese single, Stay Gold. Stay Gold! And to top it all off, this was only June. At this point, it was clear that BTS had already dominated their home turf, and they had topped the music charts all over the world. This time, their sight was set for the very top. Remember that scene in The Social Network where Mark and Sean talk about how they don't want $1 million, they want $1 billion. How they're not interested in catching 14 trout, but they'd rather catch an 800-pound marlin?
Right.
Well, that's what they set their sights on. The marlin. The biggest music industry in the world. The United States. And at the top of that music industry, #1 on Billboard Hot 100. This small group from a company that virtually no one had heard about 8 years ago planned to take on Goliath himself and dominate the American industry on their home turf. And all they had
Fingers crossed they
was
will.
English.
They're doing it now,
August 21st,
yeah.
Enter
Dynamite.
Dynamite, yes!
Their first and only English single so far, simultaneously performed better than anyone had expected, but at the same time is exactly what we as an audience had come to expect from the legendary boy band themselves. And they did it. They reached #1 on the US Billboard Hot 100, the Global 200, and the Global Excluding US chart. And they made sure that if you hadn't heard of them before, you definitely have now. And if that wasn't already the biggest flex, on October 2nd they came out with Savage Love BTS Remix with Jason Derulo, getting #1 on the Billboard Hot 100 again, less than 2 months after already getting it #1 with Dynamite. And on the
Jason Derulo, you better thank the boy.
Placed themselves at #1, the first artist to do so ever. So what makes BTS so special? How did they achieve this? K-pop is a genre that spans for at least 30 years, and there have been hundreds of boy groups and hundreds of girl groups. What did BTS do to rise above all of them and break through to markets never before seen?
Humble.
Historically, the boy band industry has been dominated by white English-speaking bands. And the fact that BTS has not only held their own, but blew any sign of competition out of the water on a global scale can be attributed to nothing less than their talent, hard work, and a bit of a 1 in a million miracle. They did it through their own blood, sweat, and tears, so to speak. Around the world, we see that boy bands have pretty much fallen into obscurity, but BTS is thriving. And though I've stated this all before, it's worth saying again, in contrast to other bands who would sing about romantic relationships with girls and what some would call predictable bubblegum pop tunes, BTS is continuously pushing the envelope and changing their styles. According to an article by Vulture.com, they describe this style as much less a successor of the Backstreet Boys and more of the successors of Michael Jackson, whose choreography and charisma were unprecedented. While of course there's a lot of love for the angelic vocals of BTS, rap has also played a very important part in creating their own style. In stark contrast to the typical boy band where every member sings, it's so refreshing when you're in the middle of a song and you hear RM's raw rapping skills, Jungkook's energy, or Suga's soul put into every single line. Interestingly enough, at the first glance it seems like the success of BTS was miraculous, despite not being part of the Big Three. But it can also be argued that their success was because of their separation from the Big Three. Their label, Big Hit Entertainment, whose founder emphasizes artistic freedom more than anything else, allowed them to make their own sound. And going back to BTS universe, it's not often that a K-pop group does something special with each of their songs and albums, utilizing strong storytelling that can go beyond simply the song itself, but rather interconnected with other songs and even other albums to create one large overarching story. And not only do they all have their own expertise in performance, but also each of them have had the experience of writing and producing their own music, and they're not afraid to let their style evolve over time. BTS during their debut is such a far cry from Wings era BTS and current day BTS. They also chose to tackle more adult issues instead of simply love and girls. While they definitely didn't have a shortage of those, they also cover other very important issues such as includes mental health, regret, following your dreams, hard work, self-love, and many, many, many others. Add that to the fact that as fans, we can feel the authenticity of the members themselves. They seem approachable. BTS seems like there's a place for every type of fan.
Right.
And in this fast-paced world where things change at unthinkable speeds, BTS has stayed grounded and faithful to who they were and who they are. Those kids we saw on American Hustle Life, along with their dreams and passions, are the same men who stand before us today.
Oh, yes.
And while some artists like to keep their personal lives private, BTS gives us a look at their personal lives through their vlogs, which allows us to become more connected to them than ever before. What is truly amazing is that,
BTS,
with the exception of just one single, they're doing this all while singing in their native tongue, Korean. Their music holds so much power that it literally breaks through the barriers of language. And no, they're not done yet. Today, November 20th, they're releasing their 5th studio album, B. Their singles on the album, Dynamite and Life Goes On. And chances are, life will go on for BTS. And chances are they'll continue to break even more records. They've shown that they're capable of dominating music charts across the world and even reaching across the Pacific Ocean and conquering the music industry in the United States. What's next for them? Mars? In any case, they only started in 2013, and BTS is as strong as it's ever been. As far as we know, they will only continue to light it up like a dynamite.
Light it up like dynamite. Oh.
Oh, you gotta do your rendition. Okay.
Oh my god, you guys, that was so perfect. That was so amazing. Was I the only one who cried?
No. I think
Did you guys cry watching this?
everybody else cried.
You didn't.
I almost cried.
You was trying to, but it didn't happen. It was so amazing to watch this.
It was, man. The way that he presented everything was so
Yeah, he did
gracefully,
such a great job.
gracefully heartfelt. He did his research. He made sure that everything was not, that you were never lost. He was always following in the chronological order where you knew what he was about to say or what song he was about to say before he even said it. So a good kudos
The
to him.
timeline was perfect.
It was pretty cool.
Yeah, he made the transition from one to the other. It was amazing. Like, he really did start it from the start to Life Goes On.
The video wasn't about negativity at all. It was about the genuine fact that they started from nothing and they went up to greatness, and they're still going through the roof. And like he said, the next step is only
probably Mars.
To only top K-pop route to break the music sales on Mars. Who else can do that? You know what I'm saying? But it's a great video to watch. I'm glad we watched it. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. We'll be coming back to you with some more videos, guys, so stay tuned. Don't forget we are on Patreon, guys, so sign up as quickly. We got some exclusive content for you guys coming up soon, so be ready for that one.
Thank you so much for watching. This is Elena.
This is Curtis.
And peace until next time.